everybody. It's 3 p.m. and it's time for dinner with Nanny Bubby. How are you today? Happy Chanukah to everybody who's out there who is celebrating right now. So happy that the holidays are starting to get underway no matter what side of the fence and what holiday you're celebrating. I'm excited. You know, frequently or in past years, the Hanukkah party was always at my house. I started a tradition, and it started with just 5 or 6 or 8 of us. And then all of a sudden, it grew the next year, and then the next year, and then suddenly we had 35. Hey, Susan Harrison. We had 35, 38 people, I think, at the highest. And so this Hanukkah would have been maybe 45 people, because, you know, I only grow in numbers when it comes to loving. And but it's COVID, so we're just having the grandkids, and not tonight. We're actually having them tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to that. But because for me, every celebration is a big feast, because you know I believe that there's a time to feast and a time to fast, I start cooking a couple days ahead. Hey, Tom Gallagher, nice to have you here. Everybody's coming in. I'll give everybody a few minutes to find us. But what I am making as a starter course, of course, to all of the fried foods. So for those of you that don't know, Hanukkah is all about the oil. It's about the miracle of oil, that there was only enough oil to light the menorah for one night after a big war that occurred. And the oil lasted for 8 days, and that's why we celebrated. Hey, Natalie. So glad you're here. Never worry about being late, Tom. As long as you're here, it makes me feel good, and I'm here for all of you for sure. And so this oil lasted for 8 days. This holiday is a happy holiday. It only asks of us to be happy, to have fun, and to celebrate miracles in our own lives. And so that's what we're doing for Hanukkah. And so it's all about the oil. So we have fried potato latkes. We have fried donuts. So it's the only time of year that everybody's allowed to eat donuts before dinner as an appetizer, not as a dessert. So we all get very, very excited about that. But I am going to make a soup. It's a zucchini basil soup. I'll show you. I got it started before you got here, so let me show you. This is 2 onions. Hey, Heather, how are you? Thanks for being here. This is 2 onions and about 7 cloves of garlic. They got sweated down, and now as you're here, I'm in the middle of chopping up the zucchini. So let me continue doing that now that a lot of you have found us and you're starting to tune in. So let me tell you about this zucchini. I love the organic zucchini from Trader Joe's. And what is really funny to me is this recipe, which I'll show you here. It comes out of the Make It Ahead book by Ina Garten, who is my hero and favorite chef who got me cooking. And this is her, you see that? Her zucchini basil soup. Now, I've changed it a little bit to fit our family's needs. And of course, every recipe, you don't have to follow it exactly. You should always take anybody's recipe, look at it, adapt it to your family's taste and your own taste so that it fits with your family. So almost every recipe, I adjust 2, 3, 4 different things. But what she calls for in this recipe that I'm following is 3 pounds of zucchini. And I thought, well, I bought my zucchini at Trader Joe's, and you know, you can't weigh what you buy there. And I love their organic zucchini. Let me turn this down. And lo and behold, each package was exactly 1.5 pounds, which I had never noticed before. So I thought that she must shop at Trader Joe's because she said 3 pounds. So who knows? But I thought that was kind of funny, and it sure made it easy for me. And if we're talking about miracles on this day, that was a miracle for me. It was like, how much zucchini do I really have here? And I looked at the package, and it said 1.5 pounds each. So that was just kind of my little miracle for the day. See? You have to believe in miracles in order to see them. And the funny thing about miracles is so many people pray for miracles in their life. They do. They pray, oh my God, please let me have a miracle. But the funny thing about that is most people don't even believe in miracles. So if you don't believe in them, how can you get a miracle in your life? So the first rule of miracles is first you have to believe, then you see. Not you have to first actually lay eyes on a miracle and then you believe. It's actually the other way around. Hi, Sue. How are you? Sue Rainish is here. So happy. She has been missing for the last couple days. Don't think I didn't notice, Sue. I'm so happy that you're back. So who else is here? Susan Harrison. I love that. What did she say? The knife is awesome. Yes, this knife is a vegetable knife. It's by Global. Global is a Japanese knife company. I love the handle, and I like stainless steel knives, and here's the reason why. Stainless steel does not absorb any of the bacteria from things like, fish, raw fish as you're cutting it. Hey, Mom, how are you? My mom is here. Thanks for coming. As does wood. And so when you have those wooden handles on your knives and you're chopping poultry, raw poultry, or fish, or even meat, that wood is absorbing that bacteria. And they always say don't put your knives in a dishwasher because it warps the wood. Hey, Tony. Hey, Tony Schaefer. Oh, my gosh. Tony, I didn't bring my menorah today, but I'm going to bring it tomorrow, but I'm going to tell your story today. Talk about a miracle. Tony Schaefer, I've known for 1,000 years. He worked for us for over 20 years, and I'm going to tell you a story of miracles about Tony in just a minute. But anyway, so I prefer, in this vegetable knife, I prefer all my knives are the Global with a stainless steel base. And if it's wood, then it absorbs the bacteria, and then you can't put it in your dishwasher, because if you put wood knives in a dishwasher, it warps them. So there you go. So yes, tonight is the first night of Hanukkah. It is. And I am making a zucchini basil soup for tomorrow night, because tomorrow night we're having our Hanukkah dinner. So you can see that I am chopping up the zucchini, and I'm getting it into the bowl. I started with, just so you know and you can follow the recipe, I started with 2 onions and 6 cloves of garlic. First I sweated, I love that. First I sweated the onion, and then after it's sweat, which means it becomes translucent and doesn't brown, once I did that, then I put in 6 cloves of minced garlic, and I sweated that, and then for 1 minute, that's about it with the garlic, and then I started chopping up 3 pounds of zucchini. And just so you can see, the easiest and fastest way to chop zucchini is you're going to take off each end like that. By the way, my husband watches and has a canary. When he sees me with a knife, he gets so worried. He can't even be in the room with me. So now it's in half. Now can you see that okay? Now we're going to split those halves. See that? And then we're going to take them and just chop away. You've got little tiny quarters, wedges, chopped up. Rough chop on this, because at the end of the day, we're going to put an Immersion Blender in anyway, so we'll do that. So as I'm stirring this and getting this to cook a minute before I can go to the next step, I will tell you the miracle of Tony Schaefer. So Tony, as I mentioned, was our lead artist, our art director. He worked for us for about 20 years. He just lost his partner to cancer, which I'm so sad about. They were together for many, 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 many years. So I know, I think this is the first holiday he's celebrating without him. So Tony, I just want you to know we're thinking about Tommy during the holidays and how much you're missing him. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Tommy. Hey, Brenda Kramer, thanks for being here. And Randy Marvin. So one night, as I tell the story, and Tony, give me a thumbs up if I'm telling the story correctly. Tony used to love to go to a bar. I think the bar's name was Good Times. And he used to sit there and he used to play video poker. So for those of you who are on this Facebook Live today who are not from Las Vegas, you don't know playing video poker at a bar as a pastime, but a lot of people in Vegas do that. Tony was one of them. And so he had recently seen a menorah from an artist in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and he fell in love with that menorah, and he thought that I should have it. So he asked for a miracle during the holiday of miracles. And he said, dear God, if I can win a, is it a full house or a royal flush? That's what it is. You can tell how much I play. If I can win a royal flush, give me a royal flush. Hey, Laura McNeese, thank you for being here. If I can win a royal flush, I am going to buy Marla that menorah. And he put in his dollars or quarters or whatever he did, and wouldn't you know, he hit a royal flush. Can you believe that? And he came in the next day. Well, he had to order it, right? He had to order it. Oh, I almost lost my finger because I'm sitting here looking at you. Okay, I better keep my eyes down. Okay. I actually hit my finger, but thank God my nail was there, so it didn't go through. Okay, so he ordered it, and then it came, and he said, Marla, I have a wonderful story to tell you. And he told me that story, and then he gave me the menorah. So this might be crazy, but here's the deal. I'm going to walk away because I want to go get that menorah. It's going to take me 90 seconds to get it. But you guys have to like type or hit threes or thumbs up or hearts or something so that I know that you want me to go ahead and walk away for like 45 seconds and get this menorah so you can see it. So you got to give me some love here. Everybody who's watching, if you want to see this menorah, it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Okay, there's one, there's two, three. Okay, give me 7 of these and I will go run get it. Okay, Tony, I need you to say yes. Tony Schaefer, just say yes so I know you're watching still. Yeah, okay, everybody, stand by. Count me down. Ready? Somebody type 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and see how long it takes me. Here I go. Tell me how long it took me. Okay, I'm back. Here it is. Isn't that gorgeous? It's made out of metal. I can't tell you exactly what kind of metal it is, but I love this. I'll be getting it out tonight. I actually am decorating for Hanukkah tomorrow, but look at that. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. There it is. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? In all those colors. Yep. And there's Tom. So Tom, I'm back. I'm telling the story back. So Tony, are you there? Did I get, yep. Tony, I got the story right, didn't I? Yes, yes. There we go. There we go. Look at that. That is gorgeous, isn't it? Isn't it? It's so beautiful. And you know, the funny thing is, a few years later, I was driving in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I drove by this artist's cottage and studio, I know, and this menorah was actually her logo without the little candles. So this is the dancing women, which I just love this. The ballerinas are, you know, just beautiful. And her logo, this was on her sign outside without the little candle things on it. And I took a picture and sent it to Tony. So there you go, everybody. That's Tony Schaefer's Hanukkah miracle story. And guess what? He's an Italian Catholic. So there you go. Anybody can have a miracle in their life, no matter what time of year that it is. And so we're all about that. So, okay, let me show you. I know it is cool, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. All right, thanks, Sue. All right, so here's the zucchini. It's softening up. I'm going to turn it up one more time because we want it to really soften up. And the next thing that we are going to add, let me just make sure. I stepped out of here, so let me bring the book. Because you know that I believe no matter what, you should always read your recipe book because you can get distracted. So add the zucchini, the nutmeg, the red pepper flakes, salt, and pepper, and saute for 5 to 10 minutes. So we've been at this for a bit, but let's do this. I separated the nutmeg already for you. So half a teaspoon of nutmeg and about 1/8 of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I think I did about 1/4 because we like a lot of heat. And we're going to pour that right in like this. Okay, there we go, and you can just smell it. And I think the nutmeg is a very interesting spice. Very interesting spice. How many of you use nutmeg? I seem to use nutmeg more during the holidays than any other time. So give me a 1 if you like to use nutmeg, especially in cream sauces. You know, that's a very Italian thing, is to use nutmeg in your cream sausage, which I can understand nutmeg like in pumpkin pie, and the first time I heard about putting it into a cream sauce, I'm like, what? Who would do that? And then I tasted it, and it's just amazing. So let's put in a tablespoon of salt. So 3 of these make a tablespoon. 1 is this 3 teaspoons make a tablespoon. And 1 more for good measure, because we err on the side of saltier rather than less salt. 1 teaspoon of pepper, and that's because we already have all that red pepper flakes in there. There we go. Okay, so let's stir that up. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that so gorgeous? And so I think I'm probably going to give my husband a bowl of this tonight. We're going to cheat, and we're going to do just a little bit tonight. But this is going to be the starter course with brisket and with fried cauliflower florets, because it's all about the oil, donuts, potato latkes, and this soup. I think there's one other thing I'm making, and honestly, I can't remember what it is for right now. So, okay, let's let that soften. And in just a minute, I'm going to show you my brisket, because I started my brisket at 11:30 this morning. Oh, I know, Laura loves nutmeg. I'm so happy. And I like it in my pumpkin pie too, Sue, but you know how it goes. So, what I was going to say is, I started my brisket at 11:30 this morning, and the thing about brisket, and let me tell you, if you want my brisket recipe, because I'm going to tell you my brisket is the best brisket in all of the world. It really is. I combined my recipe for that with a tasting that I did at the Jewish Brisket Festival. What? There's a Jewish Brisket Festival? Yep, there is. Jewish Brisket Festival. And I found 2 that I loved, and I combined that recipe. So that recipe is on nannybubby.com. nannybubby.com, go into kitchen and go into main courses, and the brisket recipe is in there if you'd like to make it for your Hanukkah party or even for Christmas. So this is cooking down nicely. So the next thing that it calls for, let me get this over here for all of you to see. Add the wine, chicken stock, and basil, and then bring it to a boil. So how many of you remember, hey Lindsay, how are you? So happy you're here. What did I tell you last time we were together? Is the recipe called for 1 tablespoon of wine. And I said there is no way that I'm opening up a bottle of white wine for 1 tablespoon. And that seemed, and since I knew we would not be drinking wine on a Tuesday night, the best substitute for wine, if you don't want to open a whole bottle, is, of course, wait for it, somebody type it because I know you know, dry vermouth, right? Dry vermouth. But this recipe calls for 1 full cup of white wine. And since I know tomorrow night we're going to be celebrating, and I love to celebrate with a great glass of white wine, and I know everybody's going to be drinking it, and I always use wine that you would drink. Wine that you would drink, not cheap wine that, you know, you don't want to waste. You always want to use good wine, whether it's red or white, so that you can finish the bottle. And that's the point of it all. And also, why would you put something that doesn't taste good, that isn't the best of the best, into your wine? So this is a French Chardonnay. It's a little bit, it's a Viognier, so it's a little bit less than the Chardonnay in terms of weightiness and taste, but it's a little more than Pinot Grigio, which is what she calls for, but I didn't have Pinot Grigio. So here we go. 1 cup of white wine, because that's more than a tablespoon, and we are going to drink it tomorrow, maybe even tonight, because after the day I had yesterday, a glass of wine tonight sounds pretty good to me. Okay, so here we go. 1 cup of white wine. Now, this calls for a quart of chicken stock, but my daughter is a vegetarian, so I never cross-pollinate anything. I would never put chicken stock in here and not tell her. but I won't even take a spoon from something I'm cooking that has meat or chicken in it and put that spoon into this. It's supposed to be vegetarian. I'm always very, very, very careful not to cross-pollinate. So anyway, this does call for chicken stock, but I love this vegetable stock. I get this at Whole Foods. There was a better one at Trader Joe's years ago that I used to use all the time, and they discontinued it. Darn. So, so I'm using this, and we're gonna add a quart of the vegetarian vegetable stock, which is delicious. There we go. There we go. Oh, I had a call come in. Don't you know, we've got a device that shoots live videos, that gives us phone calls. It's got all kinds of things going on. So we're gonna turn that up, and we're gonna bring it to a boil, and we're gonna let everything simmer really nicely. But this calls for a cup of basil. So let me show you how I'm gonna do this basil. This came out of Nanny Bubby's garden. I wish the zucchini did, but it didn't. And speaking of miracles, can I tell you that I am growing things in that garden, that I have beautiful tomatoes, green tomatoes that are out there. Yes, thank you, Laura. I am going to treat myself tonight when I get home from lighting the candles with my grandchildren. The fact that I am actually growing food in my backyard, to me, is a miracle. And the reason why it's a miracle is I did not even start a single seed until January. I had never done anything, never planted a seed, didn't even feel that I could, didn't care even. When I got my seed starting set for my birthday, I was like, oh my God, please, what am I gonna do with this? But look at me, I absolutely fell in love with it, and you can too. And come January, I'm gonna actually do a seed starting class and talk about it and help you guys learn how to do it too. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all these leaves that I just picked off, and we're gonna roll them in the larger leaf, like a cigar, right? Roll it up nice and tight. Do you see that? You see that? Let me get a better shot. Can you see that? I don't want to let go, because if I let go, and I don't think I can zoom in. Can I zoom in? Let me try. Yeah, well, I did a little bit. But anyway, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to cut through the cigar. And you see? Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? How easy is that? Careful the fingers, getting closer and closer. There we go. Then I take these around and do one of these the other way. Okay, so this is a cup. It calls for a cup, so let me throw that into the soup, and let's start again. So I learned this technique actually from watching Ina Garten. She talks about, this is called chiffonating. I don't know, I never took French, I took Spanish. So some of those French words elude me. And I watched that technique and said, my God, I struggle with, how do you chop basil? And basil is always moist. It's too moist, so it's really hard to get a grip on and really hard to get a good chop on it. So, okay, let's take these, and once again, grab this leaf, take these, and roll them up, okay? And once again. Okay, can all of you guys see that really well? Give me a thumbs up if you can see that, and tell me if you think, speaking of miracles, learning to chop basil like that and not struggling with it, I think is definitely a miracle too. So I love the taste of basil, and so even though this only, hey Roseanne, welcome, so glad to have you here. We're making zucchini basil soup today. I'm gonna serve this tomorrow night as a starter course at my Hanukkah dinner with my grandchildren. And so I'm cooking it now and having a great time because I'm cooking it with all of you. And tomorrow when you tune in, I'm actually gonna make potato latkes. And you might be really surprised at how I make my potato latkes. So if you want really the surprise of your life, tune in tomorrow because you might be gainfully surprised. So last chop, let's see. That leaf is not big enough to roll in, so let's see right here. So does anybody have any questions before I go on? Anybody have a question there? I can't look up because I'm cutting it. I'll look up in just a minute. So Roseanne, you'll have to watch this back because I told a beautiful Hanukkah story about my dear friend Tony Schaefer, who prayed for a royal flush at the bar that he used to go to, Good Times, and he said that if he got a royal flush, he'd buy me a menorah that he saw. And the next deal was a royal flush. Can you believe that? So he bought me the menorah, and here it is for those of you that missed it before. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? So, okay, so we've turned this up. We've asked it to come to, hey Colette, so nice to have you here. You have to watch this back, Colette, because you will also love the Hanukkah menorah story that I just told. So, very fun. Okay, I'm going to turn this up one more, and let's grab the Make It Ahead. And what's really great about this Make It Ahead book is that that's exactly what I'm doing, is I'm going to make this ahead. And let me tell you, you can smell the wine coming off of it and steaming off of it. Okay, wine, chicken stock, basil, bring it to a boil. Lower the heat and simmer uncovered for about 30 minutes until the zucchini is very tender. And then we're going to use an immersion blender to blend it all. And at the end, when you get ready to serve it, I'm going to serve it with grated Parmesan cheese and Greek yogurt, which I have, about a half cup of Greek yogurt, which will add, thank you Roseanne, which will add, you know, really some great creaminess to this, and then the Parmesan cheese on top. And when I put it in the bowls, just a little drizzle of buttery olive oil. I got this wonderful olive oil set from a dear friend of mine, and one of the flavors is buttery flavored olive oil, which sounds amazing to be on top of the soup. So we'll bring this to a boil. It's starting to come. Then we'll turn it down, and I'll get rid of this board, and then I will show you my brisket. It's in the oven. It's just about time to come out. So tell me, if you're making Hanukkah dinner, I know there's not that many of you here, but anybody that's here that's making Hanukkah dinner, just tell me what your favorite thing for Hanukkah dinner is. We'll get to Christmas next week, right? Or the week after, we'll get to Christmas, because we have a great Christmas Eve meal that we always put together. So, okay, here, let me get rid of this over here, so you'll, excuse me, while I do that. And we'll get rid of the breadboard. And let me just turn this way. And I'm going to take you over to the oven just a minute. So let me grab this out of the way. And I'm going to put this down there. And let this breadboard be my hot plate. So let me take you over here. Let me turn you around. Okay. There we go. So let's open this up. And there is the brisket. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pull it out. Okay, let me pull it out. Okay, I'm going to put you right back here. Let me grab that brisket, and I'm going to tell you how I made it. It's hot, hot, hot. It's been cooking for 4 hours. Sometimes it's way too hot. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm back. So let me tell you what I did. I took this brisket and I salted and peppered it, and then I took cayenne pepper and sprinkled cayenne pepper all over it like a rub. Yep, cayenne pepper. On both sides with the salt and pepper. Then I heated the oven up to 475. Steam is getting to me. I'm going to step back a second. To 475. And so many recipes call for taking a brisket and putting it on top of the stove and frying it to get a crisp outer crust on it. But why fry when you can actually turn that oven up to like 475 or 500 and put it in? So that's what I did. I did 30 minutes on one side. So you start with the cap side down, and then after 30 minutes you turn it over so that you end with the cap side up. And hey Karen, who's that? Karen Gale, nice to see you. And then put it back in for 30 minutes. Then you add the onions for about 15 minutes till they soften. And again, this recipe is on nannybubby.com in the kitchen tab under main courses. So let me see if I can get this foil off. Ooh, it's hot. Give it a minute for all that steam to come out. There we go. Okay, so take a look at this. So it gets very brown, but this is actually a caramelization. This is not a burn. That's what's so great about this. So look at that. Let me get a spoon here. There we go. So look at all these onions, all this juices that's in here. Now and the caramelization is just incredible. So then I put, in fact, I'm going to do this right now, so give me a minute. Hold on. I'm going to grab a beef bone broth, and I'm going to put it right in here. I love this kettle and fire, and actually this is called Chipotle Beef, and it's actually got a delicious flavor. It's very rich. And I'm going to take this and put it onto the bottom. There was a quart of beef stock in here that evaporated, so we probably needed a little bit more. I was busy getting ready, so I wasn't watching as close as I could. I'm going to put this all back in. There we go. And I'm going to stick it back in just for a little bit of while, but you can see, can you see, hey Debbie, how are you? Can you see the crust that came from the 475 degree oven? And now this is very caramelized. So what we're going to do with this is stick it back in for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to take it out and I'm going to let it cool. I'm going to take the beef and set it into a shallow dish and just cover it overnight, let it cool down, and then put it in the refrigerator overnight. And then I'm going to take the juice and put that into a glass jar, and then at the end of tomorrow morning, or when we wake up tomorrow morning, all of the fat will rise to the top of that gravy. And then, hey Sherry, how are you? Very nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Siri thought I said her. Cancel Siri. Well, there we go. All right. Okay, so then what happens is the fat comes to the top. Can't remember the word for that. There's a word for how the fat does that. And then you can siphon off that fat, and you have a rich, thick gravy. In the morning when this is cold, because slicing brisket hot, it'll fall apart on you, and you don't want to do that. You want to slice this cold from out of the refrigerator. You slice it up like how you see brisket all the time. Hey Laura McNeese, coagulates, yes, coagulates. Thank you very much. The fat comes to the top. Hey Tracy Gray, thanks for being here. Then you take off the fat, and you've got, just as I said, a rich and fabulous gravy. So that's my secret to brisket. You can tune in tomorrow to see the potato latkes, because that probably will be a treat. And that's it. So any quick questions? What time is it? About 3:37. Usually when I'm here for about 45 minutes, we have a lot of people suddenly tune in, but I think we're just about done, unless you guys have questions. Anybody have questions? So what I like to use is a Immersion Blender in this, and I really think that it's probably good enough to do that. So would you like to see me use the Immersion Blender on this? If you do, everybody hit some ones. Hey, Tom Letitia, thanks for being here. That's my hubby Bubby. Hit me with some ones if you want to see the Immersion Blender at work. Shall we do it? Shall we do it? Let's see. Let me see some ones, everybody. Anybody? Thanks, Tony. There we go. Roseanne. All right, here we go. This is an Immersion Blender. And what that basically means is that you can take this blender and immerse it in this bowl and you can blend the whole thing. So watch this. I love this. And I love this Immersion Blender. It's by Kitchenaid. And I need to move the brisket because it will melt the cord. So give me 1 second. And let me get this moved out of our way so it doesn't burn the cord. Hold on 1 second, please. Hold on. Do not want to drop this on my foot. Okay, so I'm burning me the cord right out. Okay, all right, ready? Here we go. I'm back. Okay. So this is a Kitchenaid blender. Let's see if you can see that Kitchenaid. I did get it on Amazon. And we're just going to take this and turn it on high, which it is, and then push the power button. And so now watch what happens to this. So I like to angle it. Because when I angle it, then the zucchini or anything else that's in there gets underneath it. Like that. You see how rich and creamy it actually creams it up when you do that. Isn't that incredible? And so what I really like about this is that so many of these soups, they say pour it into a Vitamix or a blender, and you got to take hot soup, pour it into a blender. Hey Patricia Siegel, so nice to see you. And when you do that, it's just, you know, you burn yourself and it's hot, the steam is in your face, but you just use this and that's it. It's done. Doesn't that look beautiful? And so tomorrow night I'm going to reheat it and I'm going to put in about a half a cup of Greek yogurt, which will give it a nice, rich, creamy base. Let me unplug this. There we go. A nice, rich, creamy base. And then I'm going to sprinkle Parmesan cheese on top. I will dish it into beautiful bowls and drizzle, that's the word, drizzle a little bit of butter flavored, thanks for the hearts, guys. Thank you so much. Butter flavored olive oil on the top of it, sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on that, and then off we go. Off we go into everybody's plates. Then we'll serve brisket. Potato latkes are actually an appetizer. Hey, Doug Eischer, thank you for being here. I know I have, and the cauliflower bites. We're going to do deep fried cauliflower bites because Hanukkah is all about the oil. And here's the last thing. Do you remember those little eggplant balls I made a few weeks ago for my daughter's birthday? Well, I'm going to make them again because those also are deep fried, but we're going to use those as meatballs on top of pasta with pomodoro sauce. I forgot about that. I knew there was something that I was missing, so that's what we're going to do with that. So that's it, everybody. I wish all of you miracles every day in your life. You are a miracle for me. The fact that somehow you have found me and shown up here at this community at Gather with Nanny Bubby, and that you participate, that you give me encouragement, that you give me something to show up for. Listen, I don't need to be a star. I was one of those in my 20s, so I'm not looking for stardom here. But at this stage of my life, I'm here to want to be here for all of you, to help all of you find peace and joy in your kitchen, to help you nourish your families, not just feed your families, and to help you not have stress, but complete and total joy when it comes to being in this beautiful space we call a kitchen, a space I never wanted to be in most of my life. So, all together now, as we sign off, 1, 2, 3, go out and spread love like butter. Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow for potato latkes. Bye.